In this video, you will learn how to develop and publish a Ballerina library. To understand the process, we will be developing a simple temperature conversion library that performs Fahrenheit to Celsius conversions. So we will start with development and unit testing, followed by the documentation and modifying the meta information of the package. And lastly, after some more testing with the local repository, we can publish the package to the Ballerina Central. Let's go ahead and create the package. The balnew command with the -dlib option will create a library package. Let's get familiar with the files and start the development. The Ballerina toml contains the meta information about the package. The temperature bal is the source file and there's a file for unit tests as well. The package MD and module MD are there for the documentation. And we have the resources directory which we will not need for this tutorial since this is a simple converter library. Let's start writing the API. So we will be writing a public function which accepts a Fahrenheit temperature and returns the Celsius equivalent of it. So we can use a basic mathematical calculation that is used for the conversion. Since this is a public API, the documentation needs to be added. A well-documented API makes it easier for the other developers to utilize it effectively. Next part is to write the unit tests. Let's remove the sample content and write a test function to verify the Fahrenheit to Celsius function. Let's add an easy assertion here, which is to convert 32 Fahrenheit to Celsius. You can go ahead and write more test cases to cover all scenarios, but now let's execute this unit test. So navigate to the package root directory and execute the baltest command. Now that we have our test passing, next step is to update the documentation. The package MD is the file that explains about the package. It has to be written in markdown format, and when we publish the package to the Ballerina Central, the content in this file is used as a description in the landing page. So let's go ahead and add a simple description for the package. The module MD file belongs to the module. In the Ballerina Central, the content in the module MD is displayed in the API documentation page of the attached module. Let's change the module overview to suit the API that we wrote. And I am also including a usage section here to give a better user experience to the library user. Now we need to update the default values generated for the organization and the version in the Ballerina toml. When we try to publish the package to the Ballerina Central, it will try it under this organization, and so we need to create one and add it here. Visit the Ballerina Central at central.ballerina.io. Sign up using one of these accounts, and once you're authenticated, it will take you to the dashboard. Now give a valid name for the organization and create it. Next is to create an access token. So give a name for the token alias and generate it. As instructed here, we must download the settings toml file and copy it to the .ballerina directory in the user home. Now let's update the Ballerina toml with this organization. Since we just started the development of this library, let's keep the initial version as it is. When the package is developed to meet the expectations, we can go for the public release with the version 1.0.0. As we completed the implementation, let's create the Ballerina archive of the library using the bellpack command. This will create a file with the .bala extension. Now the library is ready to publish. But remember, once a package is published to Central, we cannot delete it. Ballerina does allow deprecation of packages, but the best would be to test the package and keep no room for deprecation unless it is a critical situation with no other alternative. So it is always better to verify the package functionalities locally before publishing it to the Central. The local repository in Ballerina is useful for this purpose. This is a directory in the local file system. To be specific, it is in the .ballerina directory in the user home. So use the bal push command with the repository flag set to local to publish it. With the successful publish, let's go ahead and use this library in another package. Let's create a simple application with a main function and use the temperature library in it. Dependencies in the local repository are not picked by default. It must be specified in the Ballerina toml. The org, name and the version along with the repository has to be specified. Let's import the library now and use the Fahrenheit to Celsius function. Let's also alter the print statement to print the temperature values. Now we can run the package and verify the output. Use the bell run command to run the package. Alright, the conversion happened as expected. Now we can go ahead and publish to the Ballerina Central. Since we already created the archive before publishing to the local repository, now we can simply execute bal push. So execute the command in the package root directory. Let's view our package in the Ballerina Central. Search for the temperature package in the search bar. And click on the package in the search result, and this will take us to the landing page of the package. As you can see, the version we gave is added and the package overview is also added. So now let's go on to visit the API documentation page. The landing page contains the overview for the default module. As you can see, the description we added in the module overview is at the top, followed by the usage which can be copied to the code, and finally the documentation for the public function we wrote. So we have covered the essential steps to create and publish library packages in Ballerina. I hope that you have gained the knowledge to develop libraries and share them with the Ballerina community.